Welcome to the Django Project, DJ Blogger. This tutorial is part of a YouTube Django Project playlist, which you can access in the video description. You can watch the whole course from the very beginning. If you enjoyed this course and would like all the updated tutorials and associated code samples and more, you can check out this course and other courses this project features at Udemy. The link to the course is in the video description. Having now prepared the 3-column template, let's go ahead now and create a horizontal navbar. Back in the code then, let's go ahead and create a new component for this navbar. Now, in our base here, we have this navbar, the existing navbar. So let's go ahead and in the base, let's now create a new file here called navbar or secondary navbar. So this is a component which can be included in multiple pages. So we're going to create it individually. So what we need to do here then is create a new nav element. We want to utilize a class. We want to create it into a Bootstrap navbar. We want to retain the navbar, for example, expand. So these are features of the navbar, which will allow the navbar to show when, for example, it gets into small mode. It then shows that drop-down menu, for example. Let's add some padding at the top and the bottom. And then we're going to align the items in this navbar to the start, to the left-hand side. And then we want to add some padding up the top in large mode 4. Okay, so basically when it's in large, let me show you. When it's in this large view here, we want to add some padding up the top, otherwise it's going to be right up the top. So we just want to add some padding there. And then in addition to that, potentially, let me just see if we can showcase this. Okay, there's not enough text on these. But what we want to do is we want to make this viewable all the time. So when we scroll down, I can't show it on here because I don't have enough text. When we scroll down, you can see that looks like it's disappearing. But potentially we don't want that to be able to scroll down. We want to make it so it's viewable there all the time. And we only want to really scroll this middle section. So we're going to start off with sticky top. Let's see if we can get it to stick to the top. So sticky top there. Let's bring this down a bit. Okay, so with that in place, that's the navbar. Let's go ahead and create a div here. And that's going to be a container. So class equals container. Here, we're just going to add some additional padding. So padding top and bottom. Let's add 2. Padding left and right. We're going to add 4. And then we want to add different padding at the large screen. And then let's apply sticky top here. Okay, so with that in place, we now just need to add our brand, if you like. So let's build a tag here. This is going to be the nav brand. So class equals navbar brand, and then we'll create a link for it. So this is just going to link to the home page, so just slash, and then inside of here we'll create a new block, and then what we'll do here is we will add an ID equals, and then let's call this logo, small logo. Okay, and then inside of small logo out, and then we'll build a new one, and we'll see in a minute what this is for. New logo inner, so inside. Okay, so what is this SM logo out and in? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to build a logo, but we're not going to use any images. We're just going to utilize CSS to build our logo. So here what we're going to do is, now this can be an ID. Here we're using an ID. So if we're going to build a style right here for it. Now, typically, if you use a class, then we want the dot and the name. If we use an ID, then we're going to need a hash. So let's grab the hash, and we've called this SM small logo outside. So there's an outer and an inner to this. So I've just simply specified it in that way. So let's set the position to relative, and let's set the background color to white. So this is the inner, not out. This is we'll do the inner component first. So we're trying to build this little square here, basically. So the background color is going to be white. Let's set the width to 38 pixels, and then the height to, it's going to be a square, so 38 pixels. And then the top, so we're going to set where it's actually displayed from the top. So this is relative to the big box that it's inside. So from the top, let's go 50%. Okay, so that's the inner component. So now we need to do the outside component. So probably should have done that first. So SM logo outer component. So for this, it's going to be, again, position. It's going to have all the same properties, but it's going to be slightly bigger. So let's go for black. And the width, oh, actually, this is where we made a mistake. So actually, this is the outer, isn't it? 38 is going to be the outer. So width, height, and top, yep, that's absolutely fine. And then the inner then is going to be white. The width is going to be 12. Apologies. The small box inside is going to be 12 by 12. And then we're going to specify from the top 18%. And then we're going to move it from the left-hand side 50%. Yeah, let's give that a go. Okay, so that's hopefully going to work. Let's have a look. Not applying just yet. Let me take a look, see why that might be the case. So we've named it correctly. It's not working because we haven't added it yet to our single page. So let's go back into single. And now we need to add in our new navbar right here. So let's use an include for this, include, and then we need to include the base / secondary navbar. Let's add that in, and let's give that a go. So now it tells me that the template does not exist. So it looks like I've got the wrong location. Let's just double check. Second. Spelling looks okay. Secondary navbar. Oh, I've got the HTML. .html. Let's refresh. And there we go. So you can see that we've got our navbar starting to form. So we need to remember that I'm just trying to mock something up here. So this approach of actually creating this sidebar, if we were to then take this into production, we would probably want to make a few changes to it, tidy it up a little bit, and maybe take a slightly different approach. But we just want to get something started and working. So now let's go ahead and think about how we can actually get this bar or a sidebar to actually appear on the left-hand side to make it look like it's a left-hand side navigation bar. So for that, let's go into our 3-column template. So we're going to apply the styling to this block. That's the plan. So let's add some styling now to this block. So let's add a style tag right there. And we need to remember that this styling for this needs to appear when the screen size is at a larger screen size. So remember, when it gets into the smaller screen size, it's then going to be the menu across. So you can already see that this navbar has then turned into a normal navbar. You can see it's what will be a traditional horizontal navbar eventually. So we want that to change, obviously, when it gets to a certain size. So let's go ahead and apply this to a larger style only by using an app media. So we're going to say that the min width here is going to be the large breakpoint, I think, for Bootstrap, which is 992 pixels. So that would take us into the large. So large and above, it's going to have the left-hand side navigation bar. So we're going to need to attach this style to this section. So within our navbar section here, our content left, let's go ahead and add a new class. So let's call this no, it's not going to be sidebar. Let's call this navbar. Okay. So that's our navbar. So that's going to be our class that we're going to use here. So let's do that. So that's going to be a dot. Right. So we need to add or arrange the flex here. So 0, 0, 80 pixels. Let's set the display to flex. Let's justify the content to the center. Bless you. And then let's go ahead and add the border right. 1 pixels. Solid. And let's set this to a color. So this is the color of the gray border that is automatically defined by Bootstrap. So we're going to set it, the border right, in that manner. So let's not forget that. So that's the border on the right-hand side, and we set the height to the maximum, so 100 view height. Okay, so that's going to be applied to the column navbar as we've set out now. We don't need navbar here, apologies. I don't know why I added that there, because the navbar is applied to the actual navbar, not to this block here. So that's starting in place. So let's give that a go. There we go. So it looks like we have the start of it. You can see that it is sticky top. So when we scroll initially, you can see that it's not moving from the top. Obviously, this content is at the bottom and it's pushing it up eventually. But we now need to add this content obviously in the middle and then sort out the right-hand side. So what we've done here essentially is we've created a container which is 80 pixels wide on the left-hand side. So now we need to specify the other containers here. So in our class, we need to specify the container. So in the minimum size, that's going to have a column width of 12. And then when it gets to the larger size, we want to give that a column width of 8. So that's how that's going to behave. And then let's do the last block here. So class equals, so this is going to have a column width at the small size of, well, in actual fact, it's not going to be shown, is it? So we're going to remove it. So D none. So when it's at the smaller size, it's not going to be shown. And when it gets to the large size, we're going to show it. And it's going to have a column width of 3. There we go. So 8 plus 3. Okay. So with that done, let's take a look, see what we have. So now we have the content in the middle. It looks like we've got a space here on the right-hand side. It doesn't look like it's working correctly at the moment because the B here that's in the right-hand side, or should be in the right-hand side, is at the bottom and not on the right-hand side. If we close that, yeah, definitely it's not working at this point. If we go back into the code though, you can see that I've added a mistake here. So this should be a G, not a D. So I changed that. Let's just refresh. You can now see that the content on the right-hand side is working okay. So let's take a look at how that folds down. So that disappears when it gets to medium, the right-hand side. And you can see that our navbar then moves also to this horizontal. The alignment is a little bit out, which we can sort out. Okay, you can see we're starting to get to where we want to get to in terms of the final design. We have assigned, or we have specified this logo to be central, but the problem we've got at the moment is that the Navbar brand class has some padding or some a margin on the right hand side, which is preventing the logo to be centered. So we just need to change that. So let's go into our Navbar, secondary Navbar, and let's go ahead and apply this here. So let's say margin 0. See if that works. And there we go. So that may affect. Looks okay. Okay, so now we have the logo centered. So far, so good. To summarize, we've created this static left block here, utilizing flex, and then we've gone ahead and just specified the two containers here in the middle and the right hand side, the sizes. So we now have everything lined up correctly. Now we have also configured it so that, for example, the left hand side navbar is removed, or the vertical navbar is removed, if you like. The CSS is removed at a certain point, and that just takes us back to a normal kind of horizontal navbar. So that's all nicely in place, and the right hand side also is removed when it gets into the medium size downwards. Okay, so we have also added the link here, so everything is now linked up. So we can go ahead and click on any of our posts now, and that should take us to the post page with our new template. There are some additional settings that we're going to need to configure. You can see here that this needs to be on the left hand side a little bit more potentially whenever we're in this view here, or else we're going to need to wrap this up and add some padding to line all this up. So we're going to need to deal with that at some point, but for now we have all the basics in place. Now to move on, the next component, we'll take a look at the middle here and just style all this ready for it to look how we've set here in our example.